Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. In percentage terms, I can add precisely 0.00 repeating to what my fellow panelists have said about the importance of good poll workers, whether it's young people, tech-savvy people, people with disabilities, in some communities, people who have alternate or multiple language abilities, customer service, or even our favorite people, just the ones who will show up when they're supposed to on Election Day. What I wanted to talk today about is something that we've been working on at the Election Academy at Minnesota in a partnership with the Fair Elections Legal Network and a group called Development Seed with a grant from the Knight Prototype Fund. When we hear about state and local election officials across the country attempting to recruit poll workers, they're still using what I would call the old poll model, where you basically advertise for poll workers and hope that somebody will respond to your ad. What we found in my work at Pew and elsewhere is that with the technology we have with laptops, with mobile technology, people are more and more looking for ways to connect where I am, where I live, where I work, with opportunities to learn more about the election process. So whether it's registering to vote or checking your registration, whether it's through something like the Voting Information Project, finding out where do I vote, what's on my ballot, and what have you. There are opportunities out there to create portals that then you can share over social media, word of mouth, just about any community network to give people an opportunity to connect where I am to where I need to be. And so
Doug,
with that,
I'm sorry, can you give that website?
I will. It is, and it's called workelections.com. Workelections.com is built on basically the same model as the Voting Information Project. It's currently active on a prototype basis in 7 states: Arizona, California, Florida, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, and Virginia. But the concept is really simple. You can put in an address, you can put in a zip code. If you're one of those people who actually knows what county you live in, you can put in your county name. And what it will do is it will take you to a page that tells you what the requirements are, what the pay is, and if that community has a recruitment page, it will give you a button that takes you to that page. If you live in a community that does not have its own recruitment page, the site has its own survey, which allows you to fill out what language ability, technical ability, what have you, and then we'll forward it to the responsible local election official. The idea is to shorten the distance between someone who is both capable but also willing to be a poll worker and the people in the election offices who need them. And so we're letting people know about this. We're going to be rolling it out over the next several months. So I wanted to let the Commission know, wanted to let my fellow panelists know, wanted to let any of you out there in webcast land know that if you're interested in giving us your information, and we will certainly be strip mining the Commission's materials on election worker requirements for this project as well. But drop us an email at info@fairelectionsnetwork.org. And we will make sure to get you added to workelections.com. But the goal is that instead of advertising for election officials, one of my colleagues talks about being in the state of Michigan and hearing the local election official essentially begging for poll workers on NPR. And he said, I don't know how many people who would actually be poll workers are listening to NPR. This is a way to use Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all those other things that my kids won't show me how to use, to reach out to people who may have alternate language abilities, to people with disabilities, to businesses and the like, to shorten that distance and hopefully give people like Ben and others a pool of people who will actually show up on Election Day, and like the other panelists, people who will actually know what they're doing. So again, I hope you'll all go take a look at workelections.com. Email us if you'd like to participate, and if you have any questions, and I know we'll get into this in the Q&A portion, you can also reach me at my university address at dchapin@umn.edu. Mr. Chairman, I will yield back the balance of my time.